You were meant to receive a financial miracle, but someone you know asked heaven for the same blessing in your name. Archangel Michael is exposing the interference. There is a divine urgency in the realm of the spirit, something sacred, something prepared, something financially massive was meant to be released over your life. A blessing not born from effort alone, but birthed in heaven long before you ever asked. It carried your name. It carried your scent. It carried the spiritual DNA of your obedience, your prayers, your waiting, your faith. A financial miracle, long overdue, long assigned, long expected, was being readied for delivery. But heaven paused. And now, heaven reveals why. What you're about to hear is not for every ear. This is not a general message of hope. It is a sacred alert for a specific soul. If your spirit has been restless, if your prayers have echoed with unanswered expectation, if you felt that something was being held up in the unseen, then this word is for you. This word is divine intersection. This word is sacred notification. For heaven has dispatched Archangel Michael to expose what was hidden behind the veil. A petition was made before the throne, but it did not come from your mouth. Someone familiar, someone close, someone aware of your struggle and your destiny, stood in the spirit and requested a blessing in your name. Not for your benefit, but for their gain. This was not intercession. This was interception. And heaven, in mercy and in justice, is bringing it to light, right now. This is why your miracle stalled. This is why the doors didn't open when they should have. Not because God denied you. Not because heaven forgot you. But because a foreign hand reached into your inheritance and tried to claim what was never theirs. But hear this. Your silence has protected you. Your stillness has invited angelic movement. And now, because you remain faithful in the fog of confusion, heaven is about to move swiftly to correct the injustice. Archangel Michael now stands before you, sword drawn, not only to fight for you, but to reveal for you. This is not the hour to panic. This is the hour to pray. This is not the hour to question. This is the hour to listen. Be still. Be silent. Stay aligned. For divine correction is now unfolding, and what was intercepted is being reclaimed in your name. Type I receive this exposure if your spirit bears witness. Lesson code 1444 is now in motion. By the next sunrise the veil begins to lift. By the next sunrise the watchers are being exposed. By the next sunrise what was hidden behind false prayers, whispered petitions, and secret jealousy shall no longer be hidden. A spiritual transaction was made in the dark. But now, the light is breaking through. This is Archangel Michael, the chief commander of heaven's armies, sent on divine assignment to cut through the web of spiritual deception that has delayed what is rightfully yours. His sword does not miss. His eyes do not sleep. And today, his voice is thundering across the heavens with one message: heaven has seen. Heaven has decoded. Heaven is now responding. Let this be your confirmation. Not everyone will understand what is unfolding. Not everyone will feel the intensity of this revelation, because not everyone was meant to. This word is spiritual. It is darted in. It is coded. It is prophetic. It has bypassed the ears of the common and landed in the spirit of the called. If you are hearing this now and your soul begins to shake, if your heart races with a sudden knowing, then heaven is speaking directly to you. This is not imagination. This is intervention. Heaven had assigned a financial miracle with your name engraved upon it. Not just any blessing, but one that was to shift you out of survival into overflow. One that was to wipe debts, cancel burdens, and open doors that no man could shut. It was not a maybe. It was not a hope. It was a decree. But in the stillness of your prayer life, in the middle of your waiting, someone else moved. Someone you trusted. Someone you may have even prayed for. They approached the throne in your name, but with their motive. They asked for what belonged to you, not to support you, but to replace you. They saw the glow on your future. They felt the favored chasing you. They knew your miracle was close, and they thought heaven would not notice if the blessing was redirected. But they were wrong, because blessings carry signatures. Financial miracles are spiritual property. What is yours has a code, a divine mark, sealed by your sacrifice, confirmed by your covenant, and activated by your endurance. Heaven does not misdeliver, but heaven does pause when something unjust occurs in the spirit. Heaven does pause when an unauthorized petition is made in your name, not to cancel, but to investigate. And now, investigation is turning into activation. Archangel Michael has now drawn his sword. It is slicing through every false covering, every counterfeit request, every shadowy spirit trying to manipulate divine order. His presence is fierce, his discernment flawless, and he has come to stand between you and the one who reached for what was not theirs. You do not need to retaliate. You do not need to confront. Your only assignment in this hour is to listen, to stay silent, to remain in alignment, because the sword is swinging, and soon the truth will bleed out for all to see. Let your spirit stay alert. Let your tongue stay guarded. Let your faith stay firm. You are not fighting for your blessing. Heaven is fighting for you. This is your warning. This is your release. This is the beginning of divine justice. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. Have you noticed the delays? Have you wondered why the breakthrough that felt so close suddenly became silent? Why what was promised seemed to slip through your fingers just as you were ready to receive it? Why doors that were supposed to open began to hesitate, and why blessings you prayed for were met with confusing resistance? It wasn't coincidence. It wasn't bad timing. It wasn't just another test of patience. It was spiritual interference, and it came from someone you never expected. There has been a betrayal, but not in the way the world understands betrayal. This betrayal was dressed in silence. It came cloaked in spiritual garments, veiled behind prayers and whispers, hidden in the secret language of spiritual theft. While you were on your knees praying for provision, someone else was watching. While you were fasting in faith, someone else was speaking your name, not before men, but before God, asking for what was assigned to you. You must understand, not all prayers are pure. Not all petitions are born from love. Some are laced with hidden motives. Some are rooted in envy. And someone you once trusted, someone who knew your struggle, someone who witnessed your endurance. They spoke your name in the heavens not to bless you, but to replace you. This is why you've been feeling unrest in your soul. This is why your spirit hath been heavy with questions. This is why you felt like you're carrying a weight you couldn't name, because your spirit sensed the shift before your mind could perceive it. Your soul has been mourning what it could not yet explain. The person who intervened may have smiled in your face. They may have encouraged you with their words. But behind the veil, they made a move in the spirit, a silent transaction, asking heaven to deliver your harvest into their hands. And for a moment, you almost worked it. But heaven saw. There are watchers in the courts of glory. There are scribes in the spirit who record every word, every request, every motive. And when that name was spoken, your name, and when the blessing was requested, your blessing, the scribe paused. The scrolls were reviewed. The records were checked. And it was confirmed. The request did not match the record. The motive did not match the mandate. The name did not match the spiritual ownership of the miracle. So heaven held the release. Not out of punishment, but out of protection. What looked like delay was actually divine defense. What felt like silence was heaven shielding your portion from unauthorized hands. And now the exposure has begun. Archangel Michael is not only the protector, he is the revealer. He is the sword-bearer of truth. And his presence now signals that something once hidden is coming into full view. You will soon see the signs. You will soon feel the shift. What was kept from you is being returned. What was misdirected is being rerouted. And what your spirit has mourned will soon become your miracle. But hear this warning. Do not try to figure out who it was. Do not waste your oil chasing shadows. You don't need their confession. You don't need their apology. You don't even need their name. Because heaven already knows. And that is enough. Rest in this divine truth. What was stolen in secret is now being restored in the open. Type "My miracle is returning" if your spirit is responding. Blessing code 7070 is now reclaiming what is yours. If this word has stirred something in your spirit, if you know deep within that this wasn't just a message but a mirror to what you've been living, then I invite you to partner with this mission to awaken and restore the children of God. Your support doesn't just help this channel. It releases this word into hearts that are starving for truth, for justice, for divine clarity. God said in Isaiah 55:11, "My word shall not return unto me void," and you can be part of sending that word into nations. As you sow into this ministry through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal linked in the video description, you are planting seeds into fertile ground, and what you sow in faith, God returns in favor. This is your moment to move prophetically. Your giving becomes a decree. Your support becomes spiritual fire. Heaven is watching those who partner with a word and blessing those who move with it. Do not delay. So now. Give now. Move now. Not for us, but for the kingdom. What you are facing is not merely a moment of disappointment. It is a moment of divine warfare. You are not just dealing with jealousy or human betrayal. You are facing a carefully disguised spiritual test, permitted by heaven not to break you, but to prove you. This is not just a delay. This is a divine battlefield, and your silence, your obedience, your discernment, they are your weapons. This conflict is not being fought with swords made of iron, but with swords forged in prayer, praise, and purity. Your enemy has not come with open threats, but with secret whispers. They have tried to operate like a thief in the night, asking heaven for your inheritance, disguising envy as intercession. But do not be fooled. God is not mocked, and heaven cannot be deceived. Your name is written too deeply in the records of obedience for it to be overwritten by another. And yes, heaven allowed the interference to happen, not because God approved of it, but because God was preparing to reveal something greater through it. This was a divine test wrapped in spiritual warfare. God did not want to just give you a blessing. He wanted to prove that the one who would receive it was ready. And what greater test than this? That someone close, someone trusted, someone spiritually aware would attempt to hijack your promise and you still remained faithful, still remained silent, still chose trust over retaliation. This was the test of posture. Could you remain aligned while feeling overlooked? Could you stay humble while others whispered your name in the wrong courts? Could you keep your hands clean while others tried to touch your inheritance? Let me say this clearly. The delay was never a denial. Heaven never changed its mind about your financial miracle. The warfare didn't erase your harvest. It only exposed the cost. It revealed who could not go with you. It revealed what needed to be cut off. It revealed the level of protection God has placed over your life. Because if your miracle could be stolen, it was never divine. But because it could not be transferred, because the intersection failed, it confirms that the blessing is spiritual, sealed, and yours. Archangel Michael has watched in silence as you endured the confusion. He stood between you and the accuser while you wrestled with doubt. And now, with your faith proven, he moves, not to destroy your enemies, but to clear your path. Because what delayed you was only temporary, but what is coming next will be generational. Understand this. When God is ready to promote you, He often permits a disruption. Not to hurt you, but to elevate you. Your patience became your passport. Your tears became your testimony. Your waiting became your warfare. And heaven is moving because you didn't. This is the hour where the watchers in the spirit realm have been commanded to step back, for the hand of the Lord is coming forward. You don't need to shout. You don't need to explain. You don't need to expose. Because heaven is doing it for you. Heaven had been watching even when you felt forgotten. Heaven has been listening even when you thought your voice was drowned. And now, what was once done in secret is being judged by divine light. You have not missed your miracle. It has only been reserved for the moment of exposure. And that moment is now. Type "I have been proven" in the comments if your spirit is standing on this word. Lesson code 3333 is now unlocking your tested reward. Hear this clearly. Within the next 72 hours, a shift will begin, subtle to some, but undeniable to those who are spiritually awake. Within the next 72 hours, the interference will no longer be invisible. Heaven is exposing what men tried to bury in secrecy. The clock has already started, and angelic movement has already begun. The storm has been gathering in silence, but now the wind is about to speak. Someone, and you may already feel who, hath been plotting, praying, maneuvering behind the scenes. Not in the natural, but in the spiritual. They've been adjusting energy, shifting focus, speaking intentions in the dark, hoping heaven wouldn't notice. But heaven has noticed. Heaven has recorded. And now, heaven is about to respond, not with anger, but with divine exposure. They did not shout their request. They whispered it. They did not kneel in love. They stood in manipulation. They believed their closeness to you gave them access to your blessing. But God never authorized them. I believed their familiarity with your struggle gave them rights to your reward. But heaven never gave them keys to your vault. And now, the consequence is coming. You will feel the spiritual pressure in these next 3 days, like the atmosphere is thick with expectancy. Because it is. This is the storm before the breakthrough, the tension before the tearing. Something in the unseen is being torn open, and the residue will be felt in your spirit before it ever shows up in your reality. Don't be surprised if your dreams become more vivid. Don't be startled if the person suddenly pulls away or behaves strangely. That's not coincidence. It's conviction. You will begin to feel the heat of heaven's movement. The light is getting too bright for their cover to remain. But listen closely. You are not to retaliate. You are not to confront. You are not to correct them in the flesh. Because this battle was never in the flesh. This is not your courtroom. This is God's. This is not your fight. This is heaven's war. Let Archangel Michael handle what only divine hands can. God is sending this warning, not to provoke fear, but to activate faith. You need to prepare your posture. You need to lock into silence. You need to stay seated in your spirit. Because as the interference is exposed, your elevation is being activated. This disruption is the final sign that the financial miracle is being released. It's not an attack against your destiny. It's the final resistance before your reward breaks through. You were not forgotten. You were protected. You were not passed over. You were preserved. And now, what was once delayed is about to be delivered with double force. Some things will come to light through conversation. Other truths will be shown to you in dreams. God is speaking in layers, through silence, through symbols, through situations. Do not brush these things off. The Spirit is revealing gently before He reveals fully. Don't ask for names. Ask for wisdom. Don't try to guess. Stand in discernment. Because God will reveal exactly what you need to know, when you need to know it. And when the moment comes, when the exposure unfolds, stay still. Because the same heaven that saw the betrayal is the same heaven that is orchestrating your blessing. This is the 72-hour warning. Prepare. Pray. What to? Type I am prepared in the comments if you receive this 72-hour warning. Blessing code 7272 is now surrounding your name with fire. Now that the storm is rising in the spirit realm, and the interference is being exposed by divine light, hear me clearly. Your greatest power in this hour is not movement, but stillness. Your greatest strength is not your reaction, but your restraint. This is the hour to be silent, watchful, and spiritually guarded. Heaven is moving, and your silence becomes the atmosphere that allows angels to operate without obstruction. You are being instructed, not suggested, to be still. Not because you are weak, not because you are afraid, but because heaven fights when you don't. Archangel Michael has not only drawn his sword, he has assigned protection over your name. The spiritual blessing that was nearly intercepted is now being circled by divine fire. Your job is not to speak against the person who interfered. Your job is not to post vague warnings or send pointed messages. Your job is to remain hidden in obedience, because what heaven is preparing to reveal will speak louder than any words you could ever say. Let this be your posture, still, silent, sacred. The danger in this hour is not just external, it's internal. The enemy wants to provoke you into misalignment. He wants to bait you into speaking prematurely, defending yourself in the flesh, or stepping ahead of God's timing. But don't fall into the trap. This is not the moment to prove anything to anyone. This is not the time to justify your waiting or explain your delay. The evidence is coming. The justice is on the way. Let it unfold. Instead, embrace the tools of divine alignment. This is the moment for you to increase your prayer, not your presence. This is the time to retreat in the spirit, not react in the natural. Set aside time for fasting, even if it's only a meal or a day. Write down your declarations. Speak them aloud into your atmosphere. Say it until your room shifts. What God has for me, no hand can steal. What God has written, no voice can rewrite. What God has promised, no spirit can hijack. You are being covered in this silence. You are being protected in this stillness. Even when you don't feel the warfare, it is happening. Even when you don't sense movement, it is advancing. Do not let fear take root simply because it's quiet. Heaven does its most powerful work behind the veil, and what is forming in secret will soon be seen in glory. Speak protection over your finances. Speak clarity over your thoughts. Speak peace into your soul. Say it until it settles in your bones. I will not be shaken. I will not be provoked. I will not be moved out of position, because your positioning is more important than your pacing. Heaven is not measuring how fast you move, it's measuring how faithfully you wait. Archangel Michael is guarding the transaction in the heavens. No demonic request, no stolen prayer, no counterfeit agreement will be allowed to prosper. The delay was permitted to increase your discernment. But now that your discernment has matured, your deliverance is being released. Let this be your divine affirmation. I cancel every unauthorized request made in my name. I silence every voice that has spoken against my inheritance. I declare that my financial miracle is sealed in the courts of heaven. I align myself with stillness, and I receive heaven's defense on my behalf. Repeat it. Believe it. Let it saturate your spirit. Because when you choose silence, heaven chooses suddenly. Type I am covered in stillness in the comments if you receive this divine instruction. Lesson code 8844 is now hovering over your obedience. You are not who they thought you were. You are not the weak one. You are not the forgotten one. You are not the overlooked one who can be spiritually bypassed or easily replaced. What they didn't see, what they underestimated, was your evolution. They saw the former version of you. They tried to interfere with the promise meant for the version of you they used to know. But they didn't realize. You have shifted. You've grown in silence. You've matured in the storm. You've become stronger while hidden. And now, you are no longer in the same spiritual position where they attempted the interference. You have risen. You have elevated. And heaven has recorded the transformation. You're not who they think you are anymore. This interference wasn't just a betrayal. It was a trigger, a catalyst, a holy disruption sent to activate your true identity. Heaven didn't allow this because you were weak. Heaven allowed this because it was time for the real you to awaken. You have been walking in a partial version of your power. But now, God is stirring the fullness. Your discernment has increased. Your vision has sharpened. Your authority has intensified. And because of this elevation, you have become unreachable to what once tried to manipulate you. You are no longer in the room where their words could influence your direction. You are no longer standing at the door they tried to block. You have outgrown the level where their interference was possible. You have become fireproof, storm-trained, spiritually lethal, and your obedience has qualified you for this power. The blessing that was delayed is not being returned to the old you, is being delivered to the rebuild you, the refined you, the reborn you. That's why the delay had to happen, because had it arrived too early, it would have landed in the hands of someone still tolerating the familiar. But now, you've been separated. Now, you've been set apart. Now you walk like you know who you are. You are no longer a victim of interference. You are a vessel of divine vengeance. And I don't speak of vengeance in the flesh, but of divine reversal. God is going to use what they meant for evil to elevate you in front of them. Not to shame them, but to reveal that heaven's hand was always on you. And you, the one they tried to pray over, step over, speak over, will now be lifted over them by the wind of God's breath. This moment is not about revenge. It's about revelation. It's about showing the world what heaven already confirmed. You were chosen, you were marked, and your name cannot be erased. You are rising now, not just financially, but spiritually. You are ascending into a version of yourself that cannot be manipulated, cannot be duplicated, and cannot be interfered with. Your wings are spreading. Your fire is burning. Your name is echoing through the realms. And the enemy no longer has access. You are now walking in the authority that was always assigned to you. You are now wearing the mantle that was always hovering above you. You are no longer begging for doors. You are the open gate. You are no longer waiting for favor. You are the signal of overflow. You step out of survival and into dominion. And nothing, not envy, not sabotage, not misdirected prayers, can pull you back into the place of delay. Let this rise from your spirit like a roar. I have been elevated. I have been refined. I have outgrown interference. I walk in power. I walk in purpose. I am chosen and I am unshakable. Type I am risen in the comments if this is your breakthrough moment. Blessing code 9900 is now sealing your new level. This was never just about money. This was never just about financial relief or material provision. This was about your identity. This was about your name. This was about your ability to carry what others tried to counterfeit. And now, the Spirit of the living God declares, you have passed the test. What was meant to frustrate you has only confirmed you. What tried to delay you has only elevated you. What whispered behind your back has only announced your arrival in the spirit realm. Heaven does not waste warfare. Every tear you cried during the delay has been gathered. Every time you remained silent while your name was spoken falsely, recorded. Every moment you chose prayer over petness, peace over panic, honor over exposure. It has all been written in the scrolls. And now the heavens are opening, not just to release what was delayed, but to honor your response in the midst of interference. You were tested, not just by life, but by spirits. Tested by proximity. Tested by familiar voices. Someone tried to bypass divine order and request your blessing in their own name, thinking heaven wouldn't know the difference. But heaven always knows the difference. Because the miracle was never just attached to your need. It was attached to your assignment. It was yours not because you asked for it, but because you were anointed to carry it. Now that the interference has been identified, now that the exposure has begun, now that the sword of Archangel Michael has struck the false petition, the atmosphere is shifting. The chains are breaking. The delay is crumbling. And the financial miracle that was once paused is now moving swiftly back into your hands. God says, I never changed my mind about you. The enemy may have tried to reroute your blessing, but he could never rewrite the promise. Your name is still on the vault. Your access has never been revoked. And now, with heaven watching and the earth preparing, the release is upon you. You are about to witness a divine reversal so specific, so personal, so undeniable, that even those who tried to take what was yours will have to say, this was the hand of God. They will not be able to explain it. They will not be able to replicate it. They will not be able to stop it. Because what is coming was not crafted by man, it was commanded by heaven. This is the moment when your miracle will not only manifest, but it will answer questions. You won't have to prove anything with your words. Your blessing will become your voice. Your overflow will speak louder than your pain ever did. The same mouths that tried to speak against you will now have to watch as heaven vindicates you in public. Your posture, your patience, your persistence, they have become your passport. And the gates are opening. Not tomorrow. Not someday. But now. Let this rise as your prophetic decree. I was tested, and I passed. I was delayed, but I was not denied. I am the rightful heir of this financial miracle. My name is still written. My season is here. And no interference can stop what God has commanded to flow into my life. Type I am chosen for this in the comments if this word has confirmed what you've carried. Blessing code 666 is now surrounding you with divine accuracy. If this prophetic revelation pierced your spirit, if you know you've been tested, and this word exposed exactly what's been happening around your promise, then now is the moment to sow into the very word that just delivered you. This is not about helping a channel. This is about helping heaven reach the next soul waiting to hear that God has not forgotten them. When you give, you're not donating, you're declaring. You're placing your seed in the river of this message, and God is sending the oil of overflow back into your life. Isaiah 43:19 isn't just a verse today. It's God's voice. Behold, I am doing a new thing. That new thing begins with your boldness. As you move through Super Thanks, YouTube membership, or the PayPal link in the video description, know that you are aligning with a heavenly flow. Let your giving be prophetic. Let your offering be a sword. Let your support be the divine yes that shakes open the next gate of glory. Move now, not out of pressure but out of purpose. Now that the interference has been exposed, now that the false request hath been denied, now that the sword has been drawn and the scrolls have been read, it is time to step into your next assignment. You've waited long enough. You've suffered long enough. You've wandered in confusion long enough. But now, heaven has sounded the trumpet of release, and this is your moment to activate destiny with your yes. Yes, your agreement is required. Heaven has always known who you are. Heaven never needed convincing. But sometimes, the file lock is not opened by angelic intervention. It is opened by your obedience, by your voice, by your bold decision to step out of survival and into the authority you were born for. This is not just about receiving a blessing. This is about becoming the person who hosts the blessing without collapsing under its weight. That is why the interference was allowed. Because God wasn't just defending what was yours. He was preparing you for what was yours. And now that you've been tested, now that you've passed through delay and betrayal and silence without forfeiting your position, now that you've matured under pressure, the portal is open. This is your season of divine activation. But hear me clearly, heaven is waiting on your movement. You must open your mouth and declare it. You must walk into rooms with authority. You must begin to speak like one who knows their birthright is secured. Your financial miracle is not just a transaction of money. It is a transition of mindset. You are moving from poverty to provision, from lack to leadership, from victimhood to victory. This is the season of bold alignment. You can no longer afford to speak in doubt. You can no longer afford to entertain the voices that told you to shrink. You can no longer afford to delay the decisions you've been afraid to make. The delay already came, and it ended. Now it's time to move. Declare it. I am aligned with heaven. I am walking in purpose. I am stepping into the wealth that was always assigned to me. Say it until your environment changes. Say it until fear loses its grip. Say it until you feel the spiritual gate open above your head. This miracle was not meant to just pay bills. This miracle was meant to establish legacy. Is Anjas of Recumber who is recalling. What you are about to receive is not about getting rich. It's about becoming resourceful, anointed to fund visions, sow into ministries, rescue families, and walk in financial freedom without shame. This is the divine activation of your kingdom identity. You are not being blessed just to survive. You are being activated to build. This is why you cannot delay your yes any longer. This is why the enemy sent the interference. This is why the person close to you tried to request the blessing in your name, because they sensed what even you were still afraid to admit. You are called to carry wealth. You are called to command resources. You are called to govern territories. The time for doubting yourself is over. The time for second-guessing is done. The time for spiritual hesitation has expired. Heaven waits for your yes. Say it now. Declare it out loud. Yes, I receive the call. Yes, I walk in my mantle. Yes, I will no longer delay. Yes, I give God my full agreement. Let the angels mark this moment. Let the earth respond. Let the heavens open over your obedience. Because your yes is the gate to the next level. Type yes. I agree with heaven in the comments if this moment is your activation. Blessing code 5555 is now releasing divine momentum over your next step. There are things happening around your life right now that your natural eyes cannot see, but your spirit feels it. The atmosphere is shifting. The pressure is rising. The silence has grown deeper. Not because nothing is happening, but because everything is. In the realm of the spirit, an exchange is taking place. A divine reversal. A sacred transaction that does not require your signature, only your surrender. This is what many miss. The miracle doesn't always begin with a loud announcement. It doesn't always show up with thunder and lightning. Sometimes, it begins in the stillness. Sometimes, it begins in the midnight hour when you're tossing and turning. When your chest feels heavy for no reason. When your thoughts are louder than your surroundings. When your heart feels like it's both breaking and being reborn. That is not confusion. That is not anxiety. That is the spirit realm moving things on your behalf. The angels are at work. and not just any angels of the idyllic court assigned to financial judgment and restoration. And leading them is Archangel Michael, sword still drawn, voice still thundering, justice still unfolding. While you sleep, he wars. While you cry, he records. While you worship, he reclaims what was taken. And in this very moment, what was intercepted is being released back into your possession. You may not see it yet, but your name is being spoken in rooms you didn't enter. Your mantle is being honored in realms you didn't climb. Your identity is being restored in dimensions you cannot comprehend. Because your spirit never stopped crying out, even when your words failed. And heaven responds to the voice of the spirit, not just the voice of the mouth. This is the silent exchange. What was requested behind your back is now being returned behind the veil. What was hijacked in hiddenness is now being restored in holiness. This is not about revenge. This is not about spectacle. This is about sacred order being reestablished. What the enemy tried to reroute is being redirected back to you. But not just as it was. Double portion, sealed, and accelerated. And yes, the warfare intensified when you got closer. Yes, the dreams became heavier. Yes, the people around you shifted. But that wasn't just attack. That was confirmation. Your spirit knew something was happening before your mind could understand it. Unease. A divine discomfort. That wasn't depression. That was discernment. Your spirit was picking up on movements in the unseen. Movements on your behalf. Even now, heaven is dispatching resources, instructions, and clarity. Even now, doors are being unlocked silently. Paperwork is being finalized in the unseen. Debts are being canceled. Delays are being deleted. Alignments are being formed. But all of it, every bit of it, is happening while you are still. While you wait. While you trust. While you refuse to move out of divine rhythm. The interference cannot cancel what was written. It only paused it. And now the heaven has judged in your favor. The exchange is complete. Your miracle is no longer pending. It is en route. You are not waiting for permission anymore. You are stepping into fulfillment. Say this boldly with your spirit. I receive the silent exchange. I release control and step into divine alignment. What is mine is returning. What was stolen is restored. While I sleep, heaven moves. While I wait, heaven works. Type heaven is restoring me in the comments if your spirit bears witness. Blessing code 8181 is now completing what was delayed. Now the scales are shifting. Now the weight of justice is leaning in your favor. What was unfair, what was unseen, what was buried in spiritual deception, heaven has seen it all. And now, heaven has judged in your favor. This is not just a season of blessing. This is a season of recompense. The time of silent watching is over. The time of reversal has begun. Let this truth settle deeply in your spirit. God is a God of justice. He does not merely restore what was lost. He multiplies it. He does not only expose what was done in secret. He reverses it with divine intention and irreversible force. Every unauthorized request that was made in your name, every whisper in the dark, every selfish plea to heaven to reroute your blessing, is now being returned to the sender, tenfold. Not out of malice, but out of divine order. The law of the Spirit is clear. Whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap. And the one who tried to harvest from your soil without permission is about to encounter the full weight of spiritual consequence. But for you, the one who remained faithful, silent, and positioned, the harvest is being returned with supernatural speed. This is more than payback. This is prophetic alignment. Because what you thought you lost was never truly gone. It was hidden. It was preserved. It was set aside until the time of judgment can come. And now, with the sword of Archangel Michael still drawn, the divine ledger is being balanced. Every seed you've sown in pain, returning in power. Every cry you've made in silence, echoing into overflow. Every time you chose honor over revenge, marked by heaven as righteous currency. This is not fiction. This is not emotional hype. This is divine law. And divine law is moving now. You will begin to notice things shifting quickly. Opportunities reappearing. Doors reopening. Conversations reconnecting. Favor being released in places that once felt cold. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. Signs that the interference is broken. Signs that the false request had been silenced. Signs that God has now reversed what was being routed. And hear this clearly. The reversal is not private. It will be seen. God is not restoring you in secret. He is preparing a table in the presence of those who assumed it belonged to them. The one who tried to receive what was meant for you will witness your blessing come into full bloom. Not so you can boast, but so God's order can be established. So it will be known. Heaven cannot be manipulated. Your name was protected. Your inheritance was preserved. And now, your miracle is being released in a way that no man can take credit for and no demon can do. Because when heaven moves in justice, it moves completely. It moves with fire. It moves with authority. And it moves on time. Say this aloud with full confidence. I receive divine reversal. I walk in heaven's justice. Every delay has been turned into acceleration. Every theft has been turned into favor. What they meant for harm, God has reversed for glory. I am rising now, not just restored, but repaid. Type heaven has ruled in my favor in the comments if you feel the justice of God moving on your behalf. Blessing code 9797 is releasing full reversal over your name. It is finished. Heaven has spoken. The sword has fallen. The case has been closed. The interference has been exposed. What was once concealed in shadows has now been judged in light. The delay was not your defeat. It was the stage for your deliverance. And now, the gates are open. The flow has begun. The miracle that carried your name, and only your name, is being released with no more resistance, no more rerouting, and no more confusion. Archangel Michael was sent to war for you, not because you demanded it, but because your obedience invited it. While others fought with word, you fought with worship. While others ran to man, you ran to the altar. While others requested your blessing, you protected it in silence. And for that, heaven has honored you. Heaven has recorded you. Heaven is now releasing what was always yours. Receive this now. The interference is not only broken, it has been banned. Your name has been sealed by the fire of God. Your financial miracle is no longer floating in delay. It is falling into manifestation. Angels have been dispatched with the exact release code to your provision. You will see movement in places that were once stuck. You will witness sudden favor in doors that once resisted. What was closed is now opening. What was blocked is now pouring. What was whispered against you is now irrelevant. You are walking in divine clarity now. You are no longer wondering, no longer waiting, no longer wavering. Your posture has been perfected in the fire. And now, your season has been ignited by truth. Lift your hands in faith and repeat this final affirmation. I am sealed. I am seen. I am sent. Heaven has remembered me. What was delayed is now delivered. What was intercepted is now restored. I walk in overflow. I walk in honor. I walk in purpose. My name is protected. My season is here. My miracle is mine. And it is so. And it shall not be otherwise. You are covered. You are chosen. You are commissioned. Go forward now, not as one hoping for a blessing, but as one walking in it. Type I am walking in my miracle in the comments if this final word has confirmed what your spirit already knew. Blessing code 1212 is now marking your next 7 days with sudden release. If this message sealed something deep in your spirit, if you know without question that this word was a mirror to your journey, then I urge you to move prophetically and sow into this word. You're not giving to a platform. You're releasing oil into a movement that's awakening the weary and restoring the chosen. The Bible says in Luke 6:38, Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. That promise is alive right now. As you move through Super Thanks, membership, or by sowing directly through the PayPal link in the video description, your giving becomes an act of alignment, a holy transaction that activates divine flow. You're not just helping spread a message, you're unlocking restoration for others who feel lost in delay. Your obedience sends this word to the next soul on the edge of breakthrough. Let your giving be prophetic fire. Let it speak louder than your fear. So now, move now. Let heaven honor your yes with overflow.